Welcome to your daily dose of theological German. We are on the fourth installment of this new work that we are working our way through on Proverbs 2 and 1 to 9. So let's go ahead and start translating. The subject is the first thing in the sentence here, and it's a pronoun. It refers back to this here, the basis for the textual coherence method from yesterday's sentence. And so that is picked up by this pronoun, it. And then you have your verb here, wird, which means you're dealing either with the actual verb in the sentence, in which case it would be to become, or you're dealing with a future construction, or you're dealing with a passive construction. And in this case, it's going to have to be passive because with future, you would need an infinitive complement. And here you have down at the end a participle. Now, this is kind of an interesting participle because it's actually the verb ausgehen, and so a lot of weird things happen. You'll notice that because it's a past participle, you have this ge prefix, which shows up into in between the separable component of aus and gehen. And then you'll also notice that the H is gone and that the vowel has shifted from an E to an A. And these are all characteristic of the verb gehen, which is a very common verb. And so it should be quite recognizable to you. And you just have to see what the different parts are there to recognize that it's the separable verb ausgehen and that it's a past participle. And once you've got that figured out, you can see that it's going to be some sort of a passive construction. So let's go ahead and try to finish translating it. So it is not based. You're going to have to say, if you want to do it passive in English, you'll say based, although you could just not do it as a passive construction and use a more nuanced verb in English like it does not proceed from or something like that. So, and that would be helpful to use this preposition von in German, which is probably better translated as from. So it's either you're going to say it's not based on or it does not proceed from a history of tradition, and this is an adjective, the way that that's formulated, history of tradition, formulation of the question. Rather, and here you're going to kind of need to resupply the verb because you just have a parallel prepositional phrase to this one up here. Rather, it is based on or proceeds from a form of contact with texts as it. Now here you're going to have to look for your verb at the end of the clause because you're dealing with a subordinate clause, and so verbs are no longer in second position in that case, they're at the end, and you're going to notice that it's lassen, and you have the sick up here, and sick lassen you're always just going to basically translate as it can be. As it can be, and so then you need an infinitive to go with that sick lassen because that is a sort of a quasi-modal. It's not technically a modal, but it's functioning like a modal. So you need an infinitive, and you'll find that here right before the main verb at the end of the clause. And so as it can be shown or demonstrated through or using the example of interbiblical exegesis in the Old Testament and outside the Old Testament in contemporary, here this word is a compound Zeit, so that's kind of time frame or time, and gleich meaning simultaneous, and so that's where you get the idea of contemporary. In contemporary Egyptian literature, as well as in the literature of Qumran.